Have you spent years trying to understand why God wouldn't let you leave that place? Maybe it wasn't 19. Maybe it was 5. Maybe 10. Maybe you're counting the days now while watching this video. And I'm going to be honest with you because you deserve honesty. There were nights when you cried alone, and it wasn't for the reason others imagine. It wasn't longing, it wasn't fear, it was something worse. It was that feeling of being trapped in a life that seemed to make no sense anymore. You looked at the ceiling and asked, in a low voice, almost ashamed, "God, why don't you get me out of here? Why don't you open a door? I can't take it anymore." And the silence that followed was deafening. Maybe you're experiencing this now. Maybe you're at work, in your marriage, in your routine, feeling that each day steals a piece of you, that nobody sees, that nobody notices, that you're screaming inside while smiling outside. If that's your case, stay with me until the end of this video, because what one man discovered after almost 2 decades in the Navy could change everything for you too. Before continuing, subscribe to the channel. Seriously, because what comes next might be exactly the word you were waiting to hear today. Imagine the scene, a 19-year-old entering the Navy, full of dreams, the kind of young man who thinks he's going to conquer the world. And in the first few years, that's exactly how it was. He stood out. He was recognized. He felt he had a purpose. But over time, something started to change. It wasn't all at once. It was slow. It was like a light that gradually goes out, and when you realize it, the room is already dark. It started with a boss who humiliated him in front of the other men. For something small. For something that wasn't even his fault. He swallowed it. He told himself it was temporary. Then came another boss. And another. And another. Promotions that never came. Recognition that never arrived. Double work that was always his. And that silent tightness in his chest that becomes routine. Perhaps you know this tightness. Perhaps you feel it now as you listen to me. That weight that dwells between your shoulder and neck that doesn't go away even on weekends. That tiredness that sleep doesn't cure. Because it's not the body that's tired, it's the soul. He remembers one day standing in the ship's corridor, holding a mug of coffee that had been cold for an hour. He looked at his own hands. Calloused hands. Tired hands. The hands of a man who had given everything and seemed to have received nothing in return. And he thought, is this it? Is this all my life is going to be? He had a family. He had children growing up far away. He missed birthdays. He missed Christmas. He missed one of his daughter's first steps. And for what? To be invisible? To be just another number on a list? And that's when he started arguing with God. Not arguing with curse words, no. Arguing in that way that only those who suffer in silence understand. He prayed and said, "Lord, I'm not asking for riches. I'm not asking for fame. I'm just asking for a way out. Just get me out of here. Please, get me out of here." And nothing happened. The doors he tried to open closed. The opportunities he saw vanished. It was as if something or someone was holding him there by force. And that revolted him, because he couldn't understand. He had been faithful. He had tried to be a good man. He read the Bible when he could. He prayed before bed. Why did God seem deaf to his pleas? Had he done something wrong? Had God given up on him? These questions consumed him. There were nights when he stayed awake until 3 in the morning, staring at the cabin ceiling, feeling that weight on his chest that feels like it's going to crush you. And maybe now, staring at this screen, you're feeling exactly the same thing. And worst of all, maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about, is the feeling that nobody understands. You get home, and when someone asks you how your day was, you just answer, "It was normal." Because how are you going to explain it? How are you going to put into words that feeling of dying a little every day? That feeling that you're in a place that doesn't want you, but that you also can't get out of? This man lived that. Every single day. He woke up before the sun, put on his uniform, looked in the mirror and saw a man he no longer recognized. His eyes had lost that 19-year-old sparkle. His mouth had forgotten how to truly smile. And his heart was on autopilot. It beats because it has to beat. Not because it wants to. There's something few people talk about, but many people experience. It's possible to be surrounded by people and feel absolutely alone. It's possible to wear a respected uniform and feel invisible. It's possible to serve your country for almost 20 years and still, deep down, wonder if your life was worth anything. And he asked himself that every night. Did I waste my life? That question was the worst, because there's no easy answer. You don't Google it. You don't ask your superior. You carry it alone deep in your throat, along with the bitter coffee of each morning. And it was on one of those mornings, on any given morning, on a day that seemed like any other, that something began to change. But he didn't realize it right away. Nobody ever realizes it right away. God almost never works in a scandalous way. He works in silence. He works in the details. He works on those things that we only understand years later when we look back and say, "Ah, so that was it." The first thing he noticed was a younger sailor, a young man in his early 20s, recently arrived, one of those who still have the look of someone who believes in something. This young man began to appear near him more frequently. In the mess hall, he sat at the next table. On deck, he found a way to strike up a conversation. And one day, out of the blue, this young man asked, "Sir, can I ask you a rather strange question?" And he replied, "You can." And the young man said, "You're a Christian, right?" "I do." He remained silent, because no one had ever asked him that question like that. He had never preached to anyone, never handed out pamphlets, never talked about the Bible at work. How did this young man know? "How did you notice?" he asked. And the young man shrugged and said, "I don't know. There's something about the way you react when people yell. You don't yell back. You don't curse. You have a patience that's not normal in this place." He was speechless, because he didn't feel patient. He felt defeated. He didn't feel different. He felt crushed. But someone from the outside was seeing something he himself couldn't see. A few weeks later, another sailor came to talk to him. This one was older, married, with problems at home. This one didn't come with a spiritual question. He came crying. He came saying he was thinking of doing something stupid, that he couldn't take it anymore, that he needed to talk to someone who wouldn't judge him, and he asked, "Why did you come to talk to me?" And the man replied, "Because I've been watching you for months, and I feel like you're the only guy here who won't laugh in my face." Right then, something began to stir in the chest of this man who had spent years asking God to take him away from there. A suspicion, an intuition, a question he didn't yet want to answer. What if God wasn't ignoring him? What if God had been doing something all this time that he simply couldn't see? He tried to push the thought away, because it hurt, because it would change everything. But the thought wouldn't go away. It kept coming back, every night, every morning, every time a sailor looked at him differently, every time someone asked for advice, every time one of the younger guys asked if he could pray about a situation at home. And it was one night, alone in his cabin, with the Bible open on his lap, not really reading anything, that it clicked. And when it did, it hit him hard. He realized all at once that perhaps God had never kept him there because of the uniform. Perhaps it was never about his career. Perhaps it was never about the salary, the pension, the recognition that never came. Perhaps it was about that 20-year-old boy who was lost. Perhaps it was about that married man who was thinking of giving up on life. Perhaps it was about those sailors who started going to church just because they saw a man, in silence, not lose faith in a place where almost no one believed in anything. And he cried. But he cried differently. It wasn't the cry of someone who feels trapped anymore. It was the cry of someone who finally understands. You know that feeling when a puzzle piece fits after years? That's what it was. 19 years of pain, of exhaustion, of, "Lord, get me out of here." And the answer was there all along. He wasn't supposed to leave. He was supposed to stay, because someone needed the light that God had placed within him, and he didn't even realize that light existed. Now answer me this. What if it's like that for you too? What if this job that exhausts you, this boss who humiliates you, this place you can't stand, isn't a punishment? What if it's a mission? What if there's someone in that office, on that construction site, in that hospital, at that school, silently watching you? Someone whose name you don't even know properly. Someone who's broken inside, just like you were. And that person is waiting to see, somewhere in the world, a human being who hasn't lost faith even when tired, who doesn't curse, who doesn't betray, who doesn't give up, who still prays, even when the sky seems like bronze. The Bible says that we are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And maybe you've never thought about it, but salt only works when it's in the middle of what needs to be seasoned, and light only makes a difference in the dark. If you only associate with those who can already see, your light doesn't shine for anyone. God may have placed you right there, in that difficult place, precisely because it's dark there. And because you, even without realizing it, are the only light some people will see in their entire lives. Before I finish, let me ask you something. If this message touched you, write in the comments, "I'm still here." Kamer. That's all? 3 words. Because maybe someone reading these comments right now needs to know they're not alone, that there are more tired people, that there are more people holding on tight. And leave a like too, because that helps this video reach another tired man, another exhausted woman, someone who's almost giving up tonight. I know you thought about giving up this week, maybe even today, maybe right now. Maybe you clicked on this video during your break secretly, pretending you were on your phone like everyone else. But you're not here by chance. I truly believe that. You're not here by chance. You're in this job, in this city, in this life, at this exact moment, because someone needs to see God through you, and you're the only one in that place who can show that. Don't give up today. Hold on for another day. Hold on for another week, because your mission isn't the salary. It's not the position. It's not even the result. Your mission is the people God has placed around you. And when you understand that, the same place that was breaking you will start to make sense. I know it will. Before you leave, there's a video playing on the screen that's a natural continuation of this message. Click on it. Watch it until the end. Because what God began to speak to you today, He hasn't finished yet.